everybody and everyone. This is Booktrovert Besties podcast, and we are your hosts, Elaine and Amber. We're going to be going over Zodiac Academy, Book 1, The Awakening, by Susanne, Valenti, and Caroline Peckham.
All right, and here is your spoiler warning for Zodiac Academy Book 1. We are going to be talking about everything. We're going to be doing a plot summary. We're going to be talking about character relationships. We're going to be talking about themes, what we loved, what we didn't love, and what we think might happen in the next book. So if you haven't read the first book of Zodiac Academy, go read it and come back later.
We also have a trigger warning for rated R. Some of these things are rated R, a little bit of cringy, a little bit creepy, so just keep that in mind when we're listening. Keep your little ones away. Make sure we're 18 and over.
All right, real quick, I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible. I'm going to do a quick plot summary for the first book. This is a dual POV book. We are getting Tori and Darcy POVs. They are our Gemini twins. They are orphaned. They grew up in the foster system. Now that they're adults, they are able to gain their independence, but they are living off crumbs. It is a dire situation. They are stealing to pay for their rent, and they're living in poverty until handsome Professor Orion shows up and says, "Hey, you're not orphaned human girls, you're orphaned fae princesses. And if you want to come back with me, I can promise you an inheritance, a throne, all the wealth and riches above and beyond your imagination. All you have to do is go to school at Zodiac Academy, graduate, and claim your right to the throne." While they don't necessarily believe him, they're like, our situation can't get much worse, let's give it a shot. So they are portal to the realm of fae, and lucky for them, it is their freshman introduction night at the Zodiac Academy, where all new freshmen get to channel their element for power. They get to figure out which element they will be able to draw from, whether that's water, wind, fire, or air. Most freshmen will only be able to manipulate one element. The really rare, strong freshmen will be able to manipulate two. But our princesses can manipulate all four elements, making them the strongest fae in recorded history. This is the night where they also meet the celestial heirs. These are the resident bad boys of Zodiac Academy. They are all in line to accept the throne and share the power between the four of them when their time comes. When Tori and Darcy's parents were murdered, their celestial council, the four leading families, decided they were going to share the power equally amongst them, and their sons are the ones at Zodiac Academy that will one day take the throne for themselves. These heirs do not want any part of the Vega twins. They want them out of the Zodiac Academy. They want them out of Solaria. They don't care if they have to end their lives to do so. They want no part of them. They are ruthless and cruel and just terrible people. That night, the girls actually end up making it through some pretty intense initiation hazing rituals. It's a really awful night for them, but they do make it through, and the next day, they get to start classes at Zodiac Academy. They quickly learn they are way behind, meaning there's so much information that they don't know that everyone else does. All fae have the ability to manipulate people. They can literally coerce them to do anything they say. And most fae at this point have learned how to build shields and protect themselves, but obviously the girls have not. And this is very dangerous for them because anyone can literally say, jump around like a chicken, and the girls will have to do it. Not only that, but all fae belong to a certain order, whether that's vampires, werewolves, Pegasus, Medusa, sirens. There's a million different orders, but they have no idea what order they're a part of. So they end up having to get scheduled extra classes to become familiar with all the different orders. They end up needing tutors to help them work on their coercion shields, and their class load is very busy. They don't have very much time for any downtime. But they are able to make friends in Sophia and Diego, and it's not all bad. Not everybody hates them. There is a loyal fan club called the Almighty Sovereign Society, or the ASS, or ASS for short. And these are royal loyals. They are people who are obsessed with the royal line. They think the Vega twins are the true heirs. And this girl that leads them, Gwendolyn Gruss, she will literally sit down in a puddle of mud and allow the twins to walk over her back if that's what they need. She is so loyal. She is so intensely committed to them that sometimes it's a bit of a turnoff, like the bowing and the Your Majesties. It gets a little much for the twins. But she is a loyal, good friend to have. As school continues, they start to learn about their heritage, their parents' death. They learn that their parents, the king and queen, were murdered by nymphs. Nymphs are creatures who use shadows to pierce the hearts of fae and steal and drain their magic. So that is what killed their parents. They also start receiving these very vague messages from someone calling themselves Falling Star. Now, these messages are always cryptic, always dark, but more or less the main warning throughout is stay away from Darius the crew and stay away from Orion. Stay away from stay away from Darius the crew and stay away from Orion. Tori actually gets the chance to follow Darius one day, and lo and behold, he is having a secret meeting with Orion. And she hears them talking about their plans to kill them. She has no idea who them is, but to be on the safe side, she just goes ahead and assumes it's me and Darcy. So she tells Darcy about the secret meeting. She says, stay away from them if you can. They've been having a rough week at school, getting adjusted to everything. So Friday night comes around and they're ready to go out on the town. So their friend Sophia and Diego says, hey, let's go into the town. Let's have some drinks, have some food. We'll have a good night. When they get there, a little bit of liquid courage encourages Darcy to go confront Orion. And she says, why do you have it out for me and my sister? I don't understand. He doesn't deny it. He doesn't deny it, but he brushes her off and says, you need to get back to campus where it's safe. She ends up joining her friends again, and ping, their atlas goes off, which is like an iPad, and Falling Star is saying, hey, this is a great moment to meet up in a dark alley. I'll meet you there in 10 minutes. The girls, against their better judgment, go to said dark alley. No sooner than they get there, ping, actually, I'm not going to make it. So they're ready to leave, but they end up getting chased by some creature who's making these weird noises, and they're very scared, but they actually make it back onto the city street. And in a very strange turn of events, they have drinks and some sultry dances with the four celestial heirs. Don't know how that happens, but before they can make any terrible choices, they hear screaming outside, and everyone runs outside the bar, and one of the students has been attacked by a nymph. It happened to be Geraldine Gruss. She was attacked, and Professor Orion was there to save her. How convenient. They put all the kids back on shuttles and say, get back to campus. Clearly, it's not safe here. The next day, after all these sultry dances, Seth ends up going to Darcy and is like, hey, I really like you. And I think we could be cute together. Like, let's date. He makes a very public breakup with his girlfriend, and he's really trying to court Darcy. And he's like, I'm serious. I really like you. In the same Caleb and Tori end up having a hot sexual moment together, and she starts to think, hey, maybe this guy isn't so bad. I'm not looking for a boyfriend or commitment, but maybe we can have some fun together. They have a class with Max, who is Siren Celestial Heir, and sirens feed off the emotions of people. That's how they rejuvenate their power. So his favorite emotion is fear. It tastes the best to him. So he gets the girls real comfortable and warm, and he says, tell me your deepest, darkest fears. Darcy starts off by saying that she dated a guy for a couple of months, lost her virginity, and he dumped her right afterwards. Wanted nothing to do with her. And it left her so broken that is why she dyed her hair blue, as a reminder of the emotional bruise. Never to trust someone, never let your guard down. That was the most broken she's ever been. Then Tori tells her deepest, darkest fear is big masses of water, drowning. She was in a car with her boyfriend one night, and in a drunken rage, he crashes them into a lake, and she barely survives. Her seatbelt gets stuck. He leaves her behind. Some pedestrian ends up saving her life. Had it not been for some local farmer, she would have drowned to death. That's her biggest fear. Max says, thanks for the meal, and leaves him there. They took it up to he's just a jerk. Like, he was just hungry. He's a siren. That's what they do. They feed off of emotions, and fear just happens to be his favorite. Now, the dance comes around, and they get all dolled up. They're ready for a night of fun. But before they can even make it into the dance, ping, their atlas goes off, and Falling Star says, hey, let's meet at the Venus Library while everyone is distracted. The girls are like, okay, we have to figure out who this is. So they go to the Venus Library, and Falling Star happens to be Professor Astrom, and he is the professor of tarot card reading. And he says, hey, I was really good friends with your mom. We were very close, and I want you to know that while the nymphs killed your parents, I believe their strings were being pulled by very strong, very dangerous fae, including the Accru family. So do not trust Darius, and because he's so close to Orion, do not trust Orion either. While they're having this conversation, Astrom gets nervous. He's like, someone's listening to us. We'll meet again later. So they go back to the dance. As soon as they get back, Seth whirls Darcy away and starts dancing with her and whispering sweet nothings in her ear. Tori goes to the bar to get a drink. She has a moment with Caleb. And in this moment, Caleb more or less says, while I like you, I will always choose my brothers and the throne over you. Tori's like, you know what? I just want to have a good night. I'm just going to have a few drinks, dance with my friends. When she gets back, she realizes that Darcy and Seth are no longer indoors. Darcy had stepped out for some air. You get her point of view next. She went outside. She was kind of heated and all worked up from all these dances with Seth. She didn't really know how she felt about him, so she said, I need to take some distance, get some air. She runs into Professor Orion. He more or less says, why are you dancing with the devil? Stay the hell away from Seth and get back inside. Well, just like any other child, when you tell them to do something, they don't want to do it. They go do the opposite. So Darcy finds Seth, crawls into his lap, starts making out with him, and in her moment of unyielding trust, he cuts off all of her hair. The symbol of her emotional bruise to never trust someone. He records the entire thing. She's embarrassed. She's ashamed. She's broken. Professor Orion comes back. He tries to comfort her. He even tells a little joke. He's about to return her to her dorms when they hear an earth-shattering scream. Darcy knows right away that it's Tori. They run to the leisure building where it came from. And in this time, Darius has coerced Tori to walking into the leisure building, taking her to the pool. They have made her climb the highest dive and jump off of it. Now, when she jumps off of it, they manipulate the water and freeze the top layer of the pool, effectively trapping her underneath, causing her to drown. Luckily, Professor Orion gets there in time. He uses his fire power and melts the ice down, rescues Tori, gives the boys detention, because that's what you do when someone attempts murder. But I digress. Before they can get back to the dorms and end this awful night, there is another scream coming from outside, and they all run outside to find Professor Astrom has been murdered, burned alive, and he is holding in his hand a tarot card. And this is the tarot card of death. And on it, he has written the girls a message that says, the shadow has discovered me. The answers you seek are hidden between Libra and Leo, and do not trust the flames. And that is how Book 1 of Zodiac Academy ends.
What the hell did we read? What the hell was this? Okay.
Let's do ratings. You go first.
3.
Okay.
I'm sticking to it. Just a 3.
Okay.
I feel this way because, okay, so we made a post on TikTok and it was basically putting out our next book for the next week and comments of if it's worth the commitment of reading. Because at first I thought it was 10 books, but it turns out, no, this is a 23 book. It's a universe, yeah. So it's going to take a lot of commitment to get through these. And everybody was like, oh, if you get through book 1, you'll be okay. Now I see what they mean. Because in my mind, I wanted to DNF several times, but I pushed forward because there are interesting, it is interesting. It's interesting. The plot is interesting, but it's cringy at the same time. So I had to give it a 3. What about you?
I gave it a 3.8, but I knew I was being gracious. And the only reason I was being so gracious was because I think there's potential there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the idea of the magic system being built around the Zodiac is super cool.
Absolutely.
Super unique.
Love astrology.
Haven't read anything like this. Super cool. It was super cringy in some parts. When I read a fantasy novel, I more or less want to be taken somewhere else to a different reality. And the fact that this realm is supposed to be a mirror image of ours, and they have social media called Facebook, I literally was like, ooh, Facebook, that is the cringiest thing I've ever heard in my life. I hated that part of it. I hated the aspect that, because that part of our society is so vapid and shallow anyway. I don't want to read that when I read a fantasy novel. Right. So there were parts that I really hated, but I think the potential is there. And I like a campus setting. I don't mind that. We didn't really have, I don't feel like we had an MMC in this book because the 4 celestial heirs are all douchebags.
No,
they are all douche canoes. They are the worst. And Professor Orion, he's hiding something and it's going to come out, but it's like I think he really deep down loves Blue. I think he loves her. There's something between him and Darcy, Blue.
And I think that he may be caught in between a rock and a hard place here.
I agree.
Because I can tell that he's got some type of emotional connection to her. But also, there's another purpose behind his madness because he can be a straight ass, but then he can be sweet also to her.
I just don't think we got enough from him or from the romantic aspect to even call him MMC. I don't think there was a relationship in this book that I was craving to read more about.
No.
And the
from anyone.
Right. And the FMCs, Darcy and Tori, I immediately liked Tori more
Oh, me too.
because she had a little bit of a backbone.
Yes.
They're different people. Darcy is obviously more passive, more reserved. Tori's a little bit more of a spitfire. But even towards the end of the book, Tori even
start turning like more passive.
Yeah,
I didn't like that.
Hanging her head in shame and looking at her feet, and I'm sorry, but I need an FMC who's going to say,
me too,
the whole book,
all the time, all the time. Yes,
I can't stand reading about. And this is me personally, because I know weakness happens and I know trauma happens, but I hate reading a weak FMC. I hate it so much. And I felt like by the end of the book, they were both cowering, which they went through a lot. I'm not denying that. But I need someone who's going to look in the face of all that and say, like, screw you.
Every single time. And they was like, oh, just go ahead and bite me. No, you're getting a knuckle sandwich every time. Right. You're not just taking my blood for free, buddy. No, you're not doing it. Yeah. Sorry.
They were both unsure. By the end of the book, they were both unsure, weak, meek. Like, just, it wasn't enjoyable to read anymore. I want a strong FMC.
Yes. So about the boys, the four heirs, celestial heirs, who is your least favorite? Because I don't have a favorite, but my least favorite is going to be between Max and I think they're all bad. I think I can tolerate
none of them.
Look, I can't tolerate none of them. I'm trying to find a silver lining to none of them.
They're the worst. They are douches. Max is a siren, and he literally enjoys feeding off people's fear, and they're
together at the end. He's the one to put it all together.
The mastermind.
Yes.
Caleb is probably the one I hate the least. The vampire.
Yes.
Because while he has claimed Tori as his source, you could tell in that final scene where they were being awful that he was just there. Like and that doesn't make it okay.
Stop it. But he didn't participate.
Right. It doesn't make it okay to be a bystander. But
and not say anything. Right.
Yes. Right. But he was the least involved. Seth is probably my least favorite. I don't like the wolf. For one, he creeps me out when he's nuzzling people and touching people. I don't like that anyways. I'm not a touchy-feely person. So that there gives me the ick.
The way my hand would have been on fire every day from knocking people out. I mean, literally, my hand would be this big because I would be hit. Come on, you want some too? Like, literally, he's sniffing people's hair
and touching on people. Yeah, that gave me the ick. And then the fact that he really convinced Darcy that he was into her, and then to do that and have his girlfriend record it, it was so.
That was so trashy, and the whole big fallout between them. That's really Mean Girls vibe. And the post that we made, it said that it's like a bad reality show, and it's definitely giving reality show Jersey Shore type vibes.
Yeah, like trashy TV vibes.
Absolutely.
Darius, I thought I was gonna like Darius.
She said this at work today too.
Yes, I thought he was gonna be the best of them because I felt like while he was nasty and mean in the beginning of the book, you could tell he felt a real responsibility to his claim to the throne and to his people. I mean, he was the one most concerned about the nymph attacks. Like, he just seemed like he felt like he was destined to be a leader of Solaria, and he wasn't gonna let anything happen or come in between him and the throne. But then at the end of the book, he's just as bad as the rest of them. Mm-hmm. And he's the one manipulating the water to trap Tori underneath of it. And I'm like, I can't even give you the benefit of the doubt anymore. Like, you are terrible.
And then back to they only got detention for attempted murder because it was attempted murder at this point.
He said, I'm going to give you detention for 2 weeks.
Well, it's like he can't be
image of Earth, because I'm telling you right now, if some people did that shit on Earth, they're going to jail, buddy.
Everybody in the whole aquatic center is going to jail.
10 to 20, okay?
For conspiracy, yeah, absolutely.
Like, they're not getting detention for 2 weeks. And, like, even then, Darius walked out and was like, fuck you, Orion. Like, he's not even worried about the detention.
And he's not going. He's probably not going to go.
Right, he's not going to that. Like,
that's beneath him.
Like, I felt so bad for these girls because they literally had no one. Because Sophia, I like. Geraldine Gruss gets on my nerves, but I think she'll end up being very helpful.
Something important, yes, I do too.
But Diego gives me the creeps.
Me too. Big time. because it's always, I feel like he's got something going on because he's always, I don't know. I got my eyes on Diego.
He's always making like comments and like the fact that he's all over Sophia, but then he's like leaving her to go hang out. Like he's sketch. He is sketchy. He's giving me sketchy vibes. I don't trust him at all.
Me either.
No. And what's with his beanie? Why is he like wearing
That's
a
what I was
hat?
about to say. What's up with the beanie? What are you hiding?
Something's wrong. Something's
Are
going
you
on.
going bald at a young age?
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Bad news. I'm telling you. And this is what really made me think he was bad news. When they're at the bar on Friday night, he goes and gets 4 shots. And Sophia is being funny, and she takes all 4 of them. And she gets super drunk. She's like, can barely walk. And the girls are like, oh, you said you could handle your drink. Well, the next weekend, she's like, I can handle my drink. Something was wrong with those shots.
Right.
Like, I drink all the time, and I never have that reaction. But Diego was the one who brought those shots to the table. I think, no.
And it was 4 of them. So I wonder if he didn't have any intention on ever taking one, just letting the girls. He wanted to take all of them. And then he went to her room and came out her room and it's like, well, where is she at? And he was like, oh, she's still sleeping. Like,
yeah. And he was always so concerned with where the girls were going and who they were going to be with. And are you really hanging out with him? And, well, I don't support Darcy hanging out with Seth at all.
Me either.
She's a grown ass woman. You don't need a babysitter. Like that. It was a really weird vibe. Like I don't trust Diego. And not only that, but they go to this school. Okay. And so they already have to go up against the 4 celestial heirs who literally want to kick them out of the school, the country. They hate them. They have sketchy friends, and then not a single professor or adult is there to help them. In fact, my least favorite character was Professor Washer, the perv, the pedophile, like siren guy. Who
I agree.
Oh my god, he was so disturbing.
He was very much so. Making the uniforms extra skimpy, and then when they're at the bar, like, come on, bro, hey man.
Well, and then when they first meet him, he's like, "Are you girls? Are you adjusting?" And he like, but
yes,
he's doing that intentionally. It's so gross. It's so gross.
And then what's the lady's the dean of the school? What is her name?
Principal Nova.
I didn't like her either. Because she's literally sat there the very first day there getting the blood sucked out of her. They acting like they didn't even see it. Like, didn't even.
Insanity.
They didn't explain anything. Okay, 1. They took them out of their comfort zone, even though it wasn't comfortable, but it was their comfort zone here on Earth. Okay.
That's all they ever knew.
That's all they ever knew. They explained nothing. It just, hey, come on. And he encouraged them to come. So, hey, come on. So they didn't have any choice. And then dropped them off into the school with no instructions, no anything, no help from anybody. They're asking for help. No one's getting help. They're getting put in classes with people to help them, but the people's not helping them. It's just,
it's like,
what the hell?
Why did you even go get them? Why did you even go get them? Because you're bringing them in a situation where they're definitely going to get murdered or hurt or like, for one, the fact, okay, so all the Fae can coerce people to do things. The girls have no shield against this, no protection whatsoever. Day 1, they realize this. They realize we're being coerced all the time against our knowledge. We have no way to protect ourselves. So then they get to spend the next week, more or less, being like, hey, make out with your sister. Hey, jump up on top of the table and do the chicken
crazy dance. Shit. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And no one's helping them.
Their back. It's so sad.
And if it's like, if they did not want them there, if the whole entire school did not want them there, like you said, why in the living hell did you take your asses down there to Earth and come and sprinkle your little fairy dust on them so they can go back to where you all are at? And what was the whole purpose? And I think I was lacking information.
Well, and I will say one of my complaints was that everything happened so fast in the beginning. It was like the girls literally, Professor Orion shows up and they just are like, okay, we'll go, which I know they were coerced. But like, I'm kicking and screaming the whole time. Whether I'm doing it against my will, the minute I land in this realm, I'm kicking and screaming.
They went from robbing people to turning into Captain Planet with all these earth, wind, fires. Come on, guys, what is happening?
The events unfolded too fast. And I try to tell myself, like the whole time I'm reading, I'm like, this is book 1. The authors are trying to introduce a whole lot of stuff real quick. But then I'm like, wait a minute, this is a 9-book series, a 23-book universe. We got time. So let's take our time and introduce all of these things because I'm really confused. And like the one reoccurring person through the whole thing was Professor Orion. And I thought he was going to be on their side. He's the one that went to go get them. But then he literally takes Darcy's power away from her and makes her his source and feeds off of her whenever he wants. And I'm like, who is the good guy? Them. It is so sad. It was crazy.
And then also, so they did ultimately, well, not ultimately, well, they was trying to get information from Fallen Star. They almost had the information from Fallen Star, but they turned him into a damn hockey puck, burnt his ass out in the middle of the street, and he can't even tell them now. Now they gotta go on a scavenger hunt between Neptune and Saturn or Leo and Mars or whatever the hell. Find the information themselves.
Yeah, Aestrom was on their side, but I also feel like, bro, you're telling these girls to meet you in dark alleys, and then 5 minutes later you're like, actually, I can't make it. I'm sorry, I'm busy.
The shadow cookie monster comes and fucking try to bite their damn necks off.
I'm like
confused.
The whole time I'm reading it, I'm like, Falling Star is bad. He's trying to set him up for failure. And
Me
like
too.
he ended up being the only good one.
I actually thought it was one of the heirs. I thought it was one of the heirs.
I thought it might be Orion. I'm like,
I thought him too.
Because in one of the messages, Falling Star is like, oh, Orion's pompous, and he wishes his dreams of being the pit paw champion, whatever. He like made fun of him, but I'm like, what a great cover if it's you doing it. Like, yeah. He's a drunk. Orion's a drunk. He's washed up pitball player. Like I am literally, and like the thing of it is that I've seen enough social media to know that some of these people are going to be love interests, and I'm just like, how? Because like I can read a bully romance. There was no romance. It was just bully. It was just straight bully. Like it was like Kendrick said, 20v1. No, this is 100v2, 1,000v2. Everybody hated them, and then they were separated for most of the time. Like they couldn't even lean on each other because they were different dorms. Like they tried to choose the same dorm. Principal Nova's like, nope, you got to go to 2 different ones. And then their class schedules are different. They have some classes together, but they went from being together 24 hours a day to having to lead separate lives amongst people who despise them. It is just, I felt sorry for them throughout the whole thing. I did too, and then I stopped feeling sorry because I'm like, you guys are not putting up enough of a fight. Yeah, like you guys have got to. You gotta fight every time. You gotta every single time. But I did feel sorry for the situation because they didn't really have a choice, and I mean, I get what more can you do, but hey, I don't know. I'm hoping that we get some clarity. I'm hoping I don't, but like the thing of it is that like I know these 4 heirs are going to be super important characters in these books, and I don't know as a reader that I'm going to be able to forgive them. That's why I said they can die for. I don't know that I'm ever going to be able to. These authors are going to have to be incredibly talented to give them a redemption arc where I'm interested, because what they pulled at the end of this book was so cruel and so evil and nasty. I cannot imagine ever being like, ooh, okay, Darius. Ooh, okay, Max. Like, I hate them all. And just think about it. We was talking bad about dang Atos. He's a saint. He's a fucking yes. He's an angel. Angel. These guys are the devil. Like when Orion's like, "Why are you dancing with the devil?" They are the devil. And that was the best description. Caleb is a vamp. Seth is a werewolf, and then Darius ends up being a dragon. A golden dragon. Yeah. So we know he's up there. He has to recharge with gold. So what do you think is going on between him and Orion? Okay, so I don't think that they're trying to get. I don't think that the them is the girls. No, I personally to kill the girls. I think that was all Darius and his heirs. Yes, but I think that they're not. He's not meeting with the other heirs. It's just him, Darius, and Orion. I don't even think the other heirs know. No. They say that because at one. So point, I think the heirs are them. The other 3 heirs are them that they're trying to take out. See, I think it's the nymphs. You think it's the nymphs? I think they are actually. Still think Darius is actually still super committed to Solaria, and I think Orion and him have some sort of connection. But I think that they're after the nymphs, or maybe I don't think they're in cahoots to do something bad. I think they're in cahoots to do something good. But you're right. At one point, Darius says, can we involve the other heirs? And Orion says, Seth can't keep his mouth shut. Max's power softened him, and Caleb's too impulsive. But he says, this is not our moment. And then Darius says, sometimes I wish we didn't live in a world where everything was mapped out for us as if our lives are nothing more than pieces in some greater fucking puzzle, and we get no say at all. That makes me feel like he is committed to something that he doesn't, like, by blood, whatever. Like,
it's his parents. I honestly think that his parents, all of the heirs' parents, are going to be coming out soon, and it's going to be like they're the puppet masters to their children, almost.
Well, yeah, when Astrum says the Nips killed your parents, they killed the king and queen, but they were led by Fae, or they were coerced by, like. So I'm sure that the families in power are probably not all good. They're probably at least some of them are bad and corrupt. But also, reading the whole book, I'm like, their dad wasn't great.
Wasn't good either.
He was terrible. They said he got paranoid and started killing a bunch of people. They like called him the Savage King or something.
But I wonder if that his paranoia was brought in by something somebody did. Because how did you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I wonder if they made him like go mad so that people would hate him almost, and then that didn't work. So then they brought the Nips in or whatever to kill him. I don't know, but I know that whoever those four heirs, their parents wanted
the power,
the throne.
They wanted the right, absolutely. And I think that, you were talking about young people here. They're adults, but they're young adults. So, the heirs are probably still being controlled by their parents in some way. But I'm sorry, once you're 19, 20 years old, you know better than to freeze somebody in a lake and have them drown.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. I cannot imagine a redemption arc where
that's gonna
forgive them.
Neither. I was shocked. I felt like because Darcy's wasn't as.
It wasn't as physically like.
It was emotional.
It was emotionally traumatic, but not anything compared to Tori's. She wasn't almost murdered. Right. Like, yeah, she got her hair cut off, and that's terrible because it represented something very deep to her. But Tori literally was.
She was almost gone. Orion had to give her 2 pumps or whatever he gave her.
Magic or whatever.
Yeah, to get her back, breathing again. Because who thinks of shit like that? And then you got a bleacher full of on takers, like cheering them on.
Oh my god, that's what I'm saying. It was hard to read, and like I said, I know these people are going to be super big, important characters throughout the rest of the series. I don't know. Was there any moments that you really liked? I have a couple, but
so go ahead and do yours.
Probably my favorite part of the whole book was Initiation Night when Tori got to the Ignis house and she had to walk through the flames and it burnt off all of her clothes. And Darius, he did that to embarrass her, but she This is what I wanted from my FNC for the whole book, though. I wanted this level of chin up. I don't care. You're not going to hurt me. She says, I wouldn't come near you even if someone held a knife to my heart and told me the world would end if I didn't. She said, so why don't you take a long, hard look while you can? Because I promise you, you won't be seeing this again. And she walks out in the butt
ass naked.
Yes. And owns it and is so almost proud of herself. And of course, when she gets to her room, she cries, but that's okay.
Yes.
Don't let him see you cry. Yes. Don't let him see you cry. And when I read that, I'm like, Tori's about to be that bad. She's about to be that badass bitch. I know. Yes. And then towards the end of the book,
she turned into a little softie. I know.
I don't like it.
But I don't like it either. Let me see.
She even did the other thing too, where she burst into the commons and she stole dude's iPad Atlas thing and deleted all of his pictures off of it. And Darius is like, well, I've got those pictures too. Are you going to make me delete them? And she's like, if you need them for your spank bank, you can hold on to them or whatever.
She was a little quirky. She was quirky in the beginning. Yes.
In the beginning. And I was like, I can get with this. But I don't know. They broke her.
They did. We have a favorite moment. I went with the flow with this one. I'm trying to give it time. It was a lot to process. So I really don't have a moment that I was like, oh, I like that moment.
There wasn't any moments.
Yeah.
There wasn't the biggest moment, I think. Well, there might have been 2 little ones. And they're both Orion. When Orion,
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Feeding off of Blue, and she says, "One day I'll be able to fight you," and he says, "Not today. Today you're mine, Blue."
Yeah.
And then
When he
when
said
he
he
goes,
didn't hate her.
huh?
When he said he don't hate her.
Yeah. And then when he goes and after Seth cuts all of her hair off, and he goes back
Hmm.
to her and he says, my spidey senses were tingling. Like he's trying to cheer her up. Like, but like to say that's the most romantic part of the book.
No. And then it was one where she was like, why do you hate us? Or why do you want to kill us? And he's like, I don't hate you, Blue. Or that may have been the only part. I don't know.
So romantic.
I mean, that's all we're getting. That's all we're getting. We're not getting too much of nothing. It's just
To
straight
be
torture.
honest, the whole first 75% of the book, I thought it was YA.
Too.
There, aside from some provocative language and some cursing, it read very
Me
YA
too.
until that very last little bit with her and Caleb. But even that was like,
Boo.
yeah, it wasn't anything to write home about, obviously.
No.
But it did take it from like, this could be YA to like, no, maybe probably not.
But I'm actually glad she didn't go all the way with him because I'll be throwing up for days. And I'm glad she didn't take it there all the way with him. I'm super glad.
I'm super glad too. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think these are the love interests. Like, I don't know that we're gonna get like somebody else. Like, I think
It's gotta be. It's gotta be. It can't be these guys. It's gotta be because this is sick.
yeah, it was awful, and
And for them to forgive them, I'm putting belt to ass on
not
Tori
only
and
not only forgive them, but these are who they're gonna end up with. Like, that to me that is so hard for me to believe. But
yes, maybe
people who
they're.
love this series,
I know.
they go hard for
I
Zodiac.
know.
They got the books, boom boom, like they got towers of these books. There's
I seen the one girl.
yes,
Her books kept falling.
she's trying to carry him. The people who go hard for this go hard. But like you said on TikTok, everybody said, "Hey, you have to get through the first book. You have to get through the first book." So we got through the first book. So let's see.
They also told us that we need a therapist too. I don't want a therapist. I mean,
Well,
maybe to be. I don't know.
I probably do need a therapist if they're going to end up with these celestial heirs who have beat
Yeah.
them and tortured them. And
I mean, damn, the first beginning of
it was the
Tori.
attempted murder for me. Okay, it was the attempted murder
It was
because
the whole fucking
I
book.
can read a bully romance. Okay, I can read a bully romance. I can read, you're degrading, you're hateful, you're mean, you pull pranks. It was the attempted murder. I don't think I can get past that.
It was wild as hell. Like, buddy, she's sitting here trying to get her out the ice and shit. Like, what type of craziness?
Like, I'm
And then
thinking, like, the Darcy cutting her hair off, like, I can maybe get over that. I really hate Seth. I can maybe get over it. The attempted murder, I don't think I'm going to be able to get over that.
the very first beginning, he pushed her ass off the
tower.
the tower. Like that's attempted murder too. Like y'all just all y'all motherfuckers need to be in jail. What are y'all thinking?
I swear, and they're getting detention.
And they're getting detention.
Where?
And then they still get to suck blood out of people. Get out of here.
Lord. Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know that I've ever read a vampire novel, a romantasy novel that has a vampire theme, where their blood is taken, I don't like all the time
against their will.
Yeah, without their consent. And
I haven't.
But like, they didn't even fight it. Like that's that part of that.
Here you go. Yeah. Like,
okay, well, I'm not going to be able to beat you, so here you go. Snorted because that's how ridiculous it is.
And then they still haven't found out. I don't know if she's book one, but they don't even know what refuels them because Orion.
They don't even know what order they are. I thought for sure by the end of book one we would know what they were.
Nope.
Because they don't. Well, let's see what they know. They know they're not werewolves,
and they know they're not sirens.
They know they're not sirens. I'm gonna go ahead and say they probably aren't vampires because
they're probably gonna be damn dragons. You think?
Dragons?
Because remember, she said, I think it was Tori was like, I really want to go out there with them. Like she felt it calling to her to go out there with them. I think that's probably what they're gonna be is dragons.
Well, I don't think they're gonna be Pegasus because they said they were like weak or whatever, and these girls are like the heirs to the throne.
They got all 4 elements.
All 4 element powers. Yeah.
So,
I don't know what it's gonna be.
I don't know, and we didn't get any of that. Like when he I know when Orion sucked Blue's damn near sucked the organs out of her body. Uh, she didn't even know how to fucking recharge. She was down for days because she didn't drained her. She's just a skin and bones at this point.
And the fact that the fact that one of the two vampires are Caleb has claimed. So vampires rejuvenate their power by sucking the blood out of their victims and drawing the power out from them. So Tori and Darcy are the most strongest, powerful fae in history. So until they are strong enough to fight them off, Caleb has claimed Tori as his source, and Orion has claimed Darcy as his source. And they can literally feed from them whenever they want. Principal, other teachers, nobody's gonna say anything. Even though Orion is part of the faculty, like he's a teacher, for God's sakes. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what made it so cringy to me, was because this is supposed to reflect Earth so much that we have social media, we have iPads, we have all this stuff. But then the structure,
it's just outlandish.
I know in today's world, we're not at our best.
Oh, that was good. We are not at our best.
We're not. If a different realm came to us today, they'd be like, what is going on?
We're out of here. See y'all later.
I get it. But we're not letting that stuff happen in
No.
our school.
No. Goodness.
It was so...
Yeah. So,
I get why they said it was like reality trash TV, because that part of it was. Like, that part of it was like, is this real? Like, is this what I'm really reading?
It was definitely a VH1 or MTV old school 2000s. Definitely something like
True life.
My goodness. So yeah. So I guess we're gonna
read book 2.
We're gonna read book 2 and see what these ladies got for us in book 2.
Hopefully, hope we go somewhere in book 2. I hope we get.
I hope so, because I'd hate to DNF this book, but I will.
Hope we figure out what the order is, what their order is. I hope that we get some answers about. I hope something happens. I hope if you're gonna give us a redemption arc for these celestial heirs, something bad needs to happen to them. I need them to suffer before this redemption arc. I need to feel their pain and be like, okay, well, karma's a bitch. I need them to get some sort of karmic retribution for the stuff that they pulled. Like, that is what I need to see and hear.
And I want them to almost die. Like, I really do.
Teetering on the death's door.
I want them to be walking into the light, and then somebody... And
then, like, Darcy and Tori be like, okay, we'll save your life.
Just this once.
Yeah, I don't know. I cannot. That's what I said. I feel like they're alone. I feel like outside of Sophia and Geraldine.
And Geraldine is batshit crazy. Okay? They call themselves the ass group. Whatever. The asses.
Later is that she's like some Amazonian, like, big old girl.
So you calling yourself a big ass with plaques and stuff.
Bowing down to them, and Your Majesty, I got you some croissants.
The way I would run every time she came, I'm flying, I'm gone.
You would. Yeah, you would. You would definitely run. Like, did she see me?
Yeah, I'm hitting it.
Oh, dude. But I think she'll be like somebody they can actually trust, because
I agree.
It's Slim Pickens.
But then she just need to tone it down, maybe like halfway. But I think she's gonna be someone that they need. I do believe that.
The way she talks drives me crazy too.
Yeah.
Like, all the little riddles and all the little rhymey things.
You talking about the country bumpkin riddle?
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's a cockamamie cockadoodle dude. That's a Lorelei Looney. I'm like, what are you talking about? She is crazy.
Gosh, yes, I did laugh out loud a few times with her.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it is so.
I don't know what we got ourselves into.
That's what I'm saying, and like, go so hard. Like, it's the best thing they have ever read. They were like, I will beat somebody up over Zodiac Academy.
Oh, you mean this shit is gotta get better?
You're a little crazy person. Not. All I know is, like we said, this is a 9-book series, a 23-book universe, and not only that, but like the spoiler-free reading order is so wacky. Like,
oh, you was telling me, I'm like, what type of mess?
you gotta read Zodiac 1, 2, and 3. Then you gotta read prequels 1 through 5. Then you gotta read Zodiac 4. And then you gotta read novellas 1, 2. And I'm like, okay, this better get infinitely better, or the podcast is about to DNF this. There's no
Real quick, where's the button? I'm telling you.
Because there's no way I can get through 23 books.
I like that.
It.
Ain't no way. I didn't go lie and say I am. There's no way.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either.
All I can say is that, but we were warned. So many people said, like, it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. We had like 40 comments on that post, and like 30 of them were like, you have to get through the first book. So
I didn't know they meant that wholeheartedly. They meant that with their chest.
They said it with their chest. You got to get through that first book, guys.
Wasn't ready.
But like, it's such a cool concept.
The whole Zodiac concept is superb.
Yes. But so unique. I haven't read anything like it before. And like, I don't love a college setting. Like, it's okay. Like, that is kind of been done, Fourth Wing. But the fact that it was Zodiac, astrology, all that stuff, signs, elements, like all that was so cool. And
then
you know what it was like. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but when somebody gets like a makeover and they do like a reveal, and like you're like, okay, they're about to look so gorgeous, and then they look like a clown, and you're like, what happened? That's what I felt like.
Who approved this?
Right. Like, what happened?
This is not what we signed up for.
No.
But hey, it's only book 1. You got through it.
And like, don't come for us, because I'm sure, like I said, people go hard for Zodiac Academy. Do not come for us. These are
don't come for us.
These
heavy on the don't come for us.
These are our humble opinions, but we are going to read book 2 next week. We're going to we'll give it. I said maybe give it the first 3 books, because that's when you're supposed to break off and read other stuff. But if it's not great, I don't know about that. But like, we'll give it the first 3 books and see
more. If this next book is not coming up, because it's almost 600 pages. The next book, I looked on Kindle, it's almost 600 pages.
It's dark, spicy, and completely addictive. But like, it wasn't spicy at all.
Who's about to get spicy? Is that from the first book? You went and bought it?
Yeah.
You went and bought all of them?
No.
Let me tell you something. I'm not
Everyone
bad.
Said these were so good. So I was like, well, I want the trophies. If they're going to be so
good, it.
I want the trophies for my bookcase. So no, I didn't buy all 9. No, hell no.
To say, because
but they are cool looking books. Like,
they are very dope looking books. That's what caught my attention when I seen the books, because I had it in my
on social media and stuff.
No, I had it, and remember I told you I had it in my. I was going to read it. The cover actually caught my attention. Those covers are beautiful. Yeah. But after what I read on Kindle from the first book, I'm not buying. I'm just going to use my Kindle. And if it turns out to be good, then I will go out and get if I go. I do it. Like, normally I'll read a book on Kindle Unlimited, and if I love it, then I'll go buy my trophy. Yeah. But this is such a popular series. No, and I'm like, everybody can't be crazy. Yeah, no. We can't be the only same ones. I hope they're right, and next week we're like, ooh, this is what were we thinking? This is the best thing ever. I hope that. I'm still going 10 toes down. This was terrible. But, it wasn't, okay, I'll take that back. It wasn't terrible, but it was a 3-star for me. I'm standing 10 toes on that. But I hope next week I can come back like, okay, they redeemed themselves. This is what I needed. This is what I'm talking about. I hope that we can take this edit and be like, okay, this is what happened last week, and then this is what we, This is what happens when TikTok tells you to go through just get through the first book, and then they were right. I hope they're right. I hope they're right too. Yeah, no. Here's what I found. All right, so next week we are going to read book 2. I think it's called the Dark. No, what was it called? The Dark Fang. I had it pulled up. I can't remember. It's book 2 though. It's something Fae, but in book 3 it's called The Reckoning. So we're not even getting to The Reckoning until book 3, which I think, like, as far as time went, I think 2 weeks spanned this entire book. Like, it was very very fast paced.
very fast paced. I think it was only 2 weeks. And so the next book, I don't know what's going to happen, but we won't even get to the reckoning until the third book.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Stick with us. Read book 2 with us. And then if it's terrible, we promise we won't keep going. And if it's great, we promise we will. But if you stayed through all of our talking and blabbering and going around in circles and circles about this, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Today for another episode. Go visit our socials, TikTok, Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Every little bit helps encourage us to keep going. We're enjoying this a whole lot. But thank you.
Thank you. Bye.